to my channel. If you're new here, hello! My name is Louise and I do weekly day of vlogs. I've just recently moved to Canada from the UK, so if you're doing that process or you want to know any information on how to move from the UK to Canada, then make sure you go check out my page down below. But yeah, we're doing something new today. I've picked up the camera so many times over the weekend thinking, shall I vlog, shall I not vlog? I haven't really known what the best thing to do is, because I know a few people are getting slated for vlogging their weekend with the current situation that we are in. Just to let you know, me and Jake have been on lockdown over this weekend. We haven't been doing anything. We have been listening to the government. We have been staying indoors. In time, a lot going on in the world and I just want to keep very positive. Me and Jake downloaded Disney Plus yesterday morning and we have been hooked. When I say hooked, we have sat on that sofa and watched non-stop Disney stuff. We watched Cars 1, 2 and we're addicted to also the Disney wedding series. And it is incredible. I've got my Hocus Pocus Disney Spirit jersey on today and I thought I'd do my makeup as well to match it, because I don't want to just be lounging around in my pajamas all day every day while I've been indoors. I do want to feel like I am being motivated and getting up and getting ready, tidying the house, cooking. I just don't want to be sat in my pajamas because I won't feel as motivated. But if you haven't got Disney Plus, I know it comes out in the UK on Monday, I believe. Make sure you get it because everything on there is just so good. We're so hooked. Now, I was obviously going to do my weekly day off vlog, which I upload every Monday, but like I said, we've been in quarantine over the weekend and we've been sat indoors and there's not been a lot of vlogging going on. So I decided to do a Q&A. I've had a lot of people message me recently for a number of different reasons, asking me a number of different questions. So I thought the best thing probably to do today is a Q&A, and thank you so much for everybody that asked me a question. If you're watching this and you're new here and you have a question to ask me, I think I'm going to be doing a Q&A once a month, so make sure you go and follow me over on my Instagram. It is LouiseWare94, and also me and Jake have a joint Instagram, so make sure you go follow me over there as well and you guys can get involved next time. I'm going to answer as many of them as I can. I'm going to go over to mine and Jake's profile first and see what questions are on there. So a question that I got given was, how do you plan to stay in Canada once your visa is over? So me and Jake absolutely love it out here, but if you don't know, we are on a 2-year working holiday visa, which means that we're allowed to stay in the country for 2 years while working. There is a number of different ways that we can stay in the country afterwards. We just need to decide what route to go down. Now, I can either use my degree and go in express entry, which means I'll have to take an English and a maths test, and it means that I can get permanent residency just because I've got a degree, or we can ask our work to sponsor us. Then another one is also a student route. Now this is the route that I'm heading more towards. I would love to go to university again and study midwifery. Now the opening for midwifery starts in October, and that's when I can apply and have an interview to see if I'm able to go to university over here, and that is the route that I'm going to be going down, a student visa for 4 years to study midwifery. But Jake is, fingers crossed, hopefully going through the process of getting his work to sponsor him. So there is a few different routes, but like I said, I would like to go down the student visa so I can stay after the 2 years. Okay, so the next question is, apart from family, what is the one thing you miss most about England? Now obviously I miss my friends terribly, like all my friends I miss, but one of the biggest changes I think is crisps. I miss crisps so much. Like, I'm never a sweet or a chocolate person, I'm always a crisp person. I love Walker's prawn cocktail, I love Skips, I love Whatsits, and over here the crisps are, there's not hardly any, basically. I have looked on Amazon and they do sell like Quavers and Whatsits and Skips at like £10 or something for a pack of 24, which seems so expensive for crisps, but you do not understand how much I am craving them and I am so tempted to buy them. Miss Whatsits, I miss Skips, I miss Walkers, I miss everything to do with crisps. So definitely when I go back to the UK to visit at some point, I'm definitely taking an empty suitcase, filling it with crisps to bring back with me. My next question is, how did you find your apartment online rental website? So most of my house viewings that I applied for was through the marketplace on Facebook. I found out that most of the apartments I could find were on there. A lot of online was like buying. This apartment that I'm currently in right now, we found through the marketplace on Facebook. Okay, my next question is, what's the thing you found hardest to adjust to? It's so weird coming to Canada because we had never been to Canada before ever in our lives. I don't think these things would relate to other people in Canada. These are the things that I found hardest from living in St. Catherine, is the public transport. There are buses and there are go buses, but there's not really trains. Like in the UK, you can get a train to literally anywhere, and they're kind of like every half an hour, if not every hour. It's so hard just to rely on buses here. Like if I wanted to go to Toronto, which is the nearest city, we had to get a coach and then a train, and it takes so long. But for example, if I was in Prestatyn, where I used to live, and I wanted to go to Manchester, which is probably the same distance from here to Toronto, it takes half the amount of time and just one train. The biggest thing I've had to adapt to over here is public transport, but like I said, that wouldn't really cater for everybody that lives in Canada, because I know if you do live in like a bigger city, the transport is a lot easier, as you have like subways, trains and buses. Okay, so someone's asked me, what is the best way to find a job in Canada? I've had this question a few times. So when both me and Jake moved over here, within the first week, we knew we wanted to stay here, so we started looking for a job. We went out with resumes to hand out, and we found that a lot of places didn't take resumes anymore, and it was all done online. So we literally applied for everything online. We went on Indeed and also just Google search, and instead of applying on Indeed, we found out what jobs were hiring, and then we went on the actual website, because I know sometimes the Indeed doesn't send resumes over straight away, and we learnt that from going to a YMCA in St. Catharines, and they told us to apply direct onto the websites. So that's what we started doing, and we started to hear back quite quickly, and I got 3 interviews within 1 week, which was extremely lucky of me, and Jake got as well 2 in the same week as well. Like I said in another video, in the winter it's a lot harder to find a job here because everywhere's kind of closed, or it's rather quiet, so they don't hire much staff. But if you're here during the summer and everything's so busy, it's so touristy, and there's loads of jobs going, I would recommend as well, if you're coming from the UK, to just pop into a YMCA, because me and Jake did, and it helped us so much, because my CV, obviously they want a resume and they are slightly different. The way I worded some of my CV was not really the way they would word a resume. And another question is, what are you and Jake doing for work in Canada? I have got this question so much, and I'm so sorry that I haven't replied before to a lot of you that have messaged me. Now, I'm just gonna say, me and Jake can't really talk about what brands that we work for, because when we both signed up to our jobs, we both signed contracts to say we wouldn't talk about our jobs. But I can tell you like what industry we went into. So Jake works in a retail store as a management. He works for like a big brand, and it's absolutely amazing. He absolutely loves it, and we get lots of good discounts, which is a bonus. And I work an office job Monday to Friday, and I've always loved the thought of having an office job. As you know, I've always danced, and I've always worked weekends, I've always worked evenings, and I've always worked holidays. So when I found out I got an office job interview, I was so excited, and I can't believe I have every weekend off now. Like, it's absolutely bizarre, and I find myself twiddling my thumbs a bit because I've never had this much time off in my life. But the pay over here depends on where you are located. Minimum wage is different everywhere. If you want to know about that, then go watch my cost of living video, because I talk about the minimum wage of where we are here in St. Catharines, Ontario, and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, Jake is in a retail job and I am in an office job. Obviously, if a dancing job does come up, then I can always take a look at it, because I obviously work Monday to Friday. I don't work weekends and I don't work evenings. So if a dance job does come up, then I'll be able to do it as well. But right now we are both happy in our jobs, and it is something new that we're both learning, as we've both never been in these sort of jobs before. Someone's put, has it warmed up in Canada yet? So Canada's weather is so weird. Basically it's about -1, but it feels about 16 degrees. Like when the sun is shining, there is like no clouds in the sky, it feels a lot hotter than it actually is. We've stopped wearing coats now. It was first day of spring 3 days ago, and we've stopped wearing coats all the time because it feels so warm. But then we look at our phones and it says it's 1 degree. So we're so confused with the weather over here. But yes, for now it has stopped snowing and the sun is shining. But tomorrow could be another story because the weather here is a bit like the UK, where one day it is sunny and one day it is raining, and here one day snowing. But for now, the sun is shining, it's absolutely beautiful. We're getting outdoor furniture for our balcony because the evenings are amazing. The next question, what was the visa process to Canada for Brits? Your journey is so cool. Ah, thank you. So, it isn't as long as a process as I thought, and it's not as stressful as I thought. You just got to fill out the application on the Service Canada page, and once you get the invitation to apply, they will let you know and you apply. And then basically when you get through, you get told, and it is just a big waiting game. There is no stress involved. Obviously, apart from my police certificate, which if you don't know, then go check out my other video. I've got a whole video on how to apply. I will leave it down below for anybody who is interested. But it isn't stressful. It is just a long waiting game. Basically, for example, if there's 1,000 Brits that apply to live in Canada, every month they do a draw. For example, they do a draw of 10 people. 10 of those people will get invitations to apply. And that's how it works. It's as simple as that. It's just a long waiting game. Whoever is applying, it's not first come first serve. It is literally, you've got a raffle ticket, they pull out a number, and if it's your number that month, then you can apply. If anybody's going through the process and has any questions of any of the points or any of the questions in the invitation, then you can write to me on Instagram and I will try and answer it as best as I can. Another question is, what's your favorite thing about living in Canada so far? Oh, this is a hard question because I feel like we haven't experienced Canada as much as we could have by now, because we went straight into work in the second week that we got here. We have tried to do as much as we can, and I think if you ask me this question in the summer, I'll probably give you a completely different answer, because I like to think that in the summer that I love Canada because of the outdoorness, like the waterfalls and stuff like that. But at the minute, the thing I am loving about Canada so far is the shopping. There are so many outlets here. I can literally get a Katie Spade bag for £30, which has been retail price of £200. So that is a massive perk. We have got so many outlets, which I'm in love with. And I think another perk is the food. Now, I know I've criticised the crisps before and other certain things. The fact that we have got Wendy's is a massive bonus because I absolutely love Wendy's. So yeah, I think it might be the food. Like, oh, their burgers are just to die for. There's loads of things that I love about Canada so far, but probably mainly the shopping and the food and how lovely everyone is. But I'll answer that question in the summer, and I can tell you now it's probably because of the weather. The next question is, do you plan on leaving Canada if your job's closed due to the coronavirus? Now, Jake's job has closed, he's off work. Thankfully mine is still on, like I said, but that could change. I could walk in work tomorrow and they say that we are closed, but that is no reason to leave the country. Of course, I'd love to be at home right now with my family and making sure they are safe. But to be honest, that is not the right thing to do at the moment. Jumping on a plane and going back to the UK is more harm than me staying here. Even though Jake's not working at the minute, we've decided to stay here in Canada as we think this is the safest thing to do. And also we've worked so hard to get our money together to move over here, to buy our stuff, rent our apartment. It would just be taking a step backwards. Okay, my next question is, do you ever miss the UK and being at Pontins? Yes, I miss the UK a lot. I miss my friends and I miss my family, like I've said before, and I do miss Pontins. Of course, it was a big part of my life, performing every single day and getting paid to perform and meeting amazing people every week that was coming through the doors. Of course I miss it. I miss every contract that I've ever been in, to be honest, the lifestyle that I've had in every other job. But I'm so glad that we have packed our bags and come over to Canada and started a new adventure. I think that's just in my bones. I've never stayed put. I've always wanted to go out and do better, and I've always wanted to go out and explore. And of course I miss the UK, and of course I miss Pontins, but if I stayed there forever, that wouldn't be true to myself. I've always wanted to travel, I've always wanted to see the world. And yeah, I'm just happy with where I am at this moment in time. But yes, I do miss Pontins, and yes, I do miss the UK. I'm sure in a few years' time, you'll see me back at Pontins on holiday, joining in with all the party dances. Okay, so I'm just gonna move on to my last question now. I didn't want this video to be too long. I just want it to be nice and fun and a chance to answer a few of your questions, and I hope I have. But the last question I'm gonna end on is, what made you move to Canada? How much did you save before you went out there? Now, this is a hard question to answer because I get given this question all the time. As soon as we meet someone new here, they ask us why we moved here, and I can't actually give a straight answer. Me and Jake has always wanted to try and live somewhere else in the world. Now, I've been very fortunate with my jobs and I have lived a number of places before, but Jake has always lived in the UK. So it was between Australia and Canada. Don't know why we chose those two places. It was just between those two. Jake is obviously getting a lot older, and I know you can't move to some countries if you're over the age of 30. So his time was running up very quickly. We were looking at Australia for such a long time. I have an auntie that lives over there who I was talking to, and we were proper house searching for such a long time. And I literally thought that was gonna be the place we were moving to. And then we found out that you had to do like 30-day farm work or something like that. Sorry if I've got that wrong. If we wanted to stay there forever. And also we realized that the flight was so long. And now that's not a problem for us at all in any way. But we thought if something happened in the UK to one of our family members, which knock on wood, I hope it never does, we literally would take a few days to get back. If we chose Canada, if something happened to one of our family members, we could be home the same day that we got told. And that is a massive thing for us. Even though we have chose to live in another country, we are both such family people. And if anything was to happen, we would be straight on that plane and we would be straight home. If we were in Australia, that's too far. We couldn't be home in the same day. And also if our families want to visit, we've still got our grandparents, I've still got my great grandma. They wouldn't be able to travel to Australia to see us. But I'd like to think that my grandparents would come over to Canada. Obviously not my great grandma. I don't think she's ever been on a plane. I'd like to think my grandparents would come over here because it isn't a long flight at all. It's 8 hours. To how much we saved before we came out here, we were idiots. I'm just gonna put that out there. And we booked a trip to Disney World 2 weeks before we flew to Canada, which means a lot of our money went on Disney World. So we didn't have as much as we would like to, but then you gotta live your life, and there was the opportunity to go to Florida and we went. So we came out here with 5,000 Canadian dollars between us. That's together because you need 2,500 each to enter the country. And then we both had our own little savings as well. I think I had an extra 1,000 and he had an extra 1,000 or something like that. So altogether we came out here with $7,000, and we would have loved a lot more because it ran out a lot quicker than we thought it would be. But with that money, we've got our apartment. We put down a deposit on this apartment, our first and last month's rent. We've got all of our furniture. The only thing that we're now needing is a car, but that's a stressful process in itself. We came out here with 7,000 Canadian dollars. So thank you so much if you did ask me a question. I do really appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't get around to answering all the questions. Like I said, I wanted to keep this video short and sweet, and if you're stuck in this Monday watching, then I hope you're all safe. I'm out at work, but as soon as I finish, I will also be coming straight home and locking myself in my house. And I just want everyone to stay safe, stay positive as well. I'm always here. If anyone needs to talk to someone, just come over to my Instagram and drop me a little message. I will reply to you. I know some people get very lonely in this quarantine time, and that's why I still thought I'd upload a little video for for you guys to watch. Also, thank you so much. I've hit 440 subscribers. I am just 60 subscribers away from my little target that I had in my head for May, which is super exciting. So thank you so much. If you're newly subscribed to me, thank you so much. Don't forget to go and like this video, hit subscribe if you're new here, and go check out both of my Instagrams. And like I said, I'm gonna try and do a Q&A once a month. So if you have any new questions, it doesn't need to be about Canada. It can be about dancing, it can be about anything, my life, about me and Jake. Jake. I also think I'm gonna do a Mr. and Mrs. video with me and Jake next week. I'm trying to persuade him. He keeps saying he doesn't want to be on camera. I tell you what, if you want to see a Mr. and Mrs. video with me and my partner Jake, leave it a little comment down below. If I get a few comments, that means he has to do it, because at the minute he's saying that he doesn't like being on camera and no one wants to see him on camera. I think it'd be such a funny video to film. So if you want to see that, make sure you go comment down below. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you for leaving me a message, and I'll see you next week, and stay safe.